record before we get started? We can start.
Yes, record, please.
Yeah. So welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. And you guys all know what to do, so I'm just going to run through these really quick. Adjust your view there. Leave notes for the speakers, and if you have questions, with the chat box. And remember that our meetings are recorded, and that by being a part of our meeting that you agree that you will be recorded. There's our join our club link for anyone who's watching it later. And at this time, I'd like to say welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online, and I'm going to pass it over to Fransisco to read the mission of our meeting or our club and to get started as the Toastmaster. So please help me welcome Fransisco.
Thank you, Don. We are an advanced Toastmasters club which supports Maverick leaders to have more impact by providing advanced feedback on leadership skills and discovering what it means to be out-of-the-box innovative leaders. So welcome to our meeting today. We seem to have the agenda taken care of. I will also be the general evaluator, so following the agenda anyway, I'm just reading through it. As Toastmaster, I would like to introduce Doug as our grammarian, and then Tricia to give us a short explanation of the role. For example, somebody who will be watching the video later. Doug and Tricia, what are your roles, please?
Doug, you are muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it didn't want to shut off the mute. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My role as grammarian and all counter is to watch and listen to what you're saying today. So I will be counting ums, ahs, so's, and other sorts of crutch words, as well as paying attention to good or poor uses of grammar. I'm also going to be watching for the word of the day, which today is resolution. Since we are at the end of our current Toastmaster year and starting our new year as Toastmasters, this is a time we could make resolutions for what we do as Toastmasters. And a resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something specific. Also, resolution is an action of solving a problem or a dispute or some other contentious matter. So please use resolution during your speaking today, and I'll be keeping track of that. Back to you, Madam or Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Doug. Tricia, can you give us a short explanation of what being a timer entails, please?
Yes, I will be resolute to do so. As the timer, it's my duty to keep track of the time of the meeting and give visual cues when necessary. At the minimum time allotted, you will receive a green indication. At the middle of your time allotment, you'll receive the yellow indication. And at the end of your time allotment, you'll see a red indication, which means you have 30 seconds to wrap up. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tricia. Appreciate it. I don't know if we're still screen sharing. Oh, no, great. So there you go, so. I picked the word resolution because, yes, we're still a few days ahead. I don't know how many of you were able to turn in manuals and awards this week. We did. And in this district, they're planning a New Year's party this weekend. So are we close to the resolutions that we make this year? I don't know. What are we going to make on the next one? Hopefully, through projects like the ones that we have today, where Andrea, and I'm looking for your intro, where Andrea has as the title, Restarting the Live 180 Dinner, Restarting the Live 180 Dinner for Andrea. This is out of the Communicating on Video Manual, number 4, the press conference. The timer for Tricia is 3 to 5 minutes plus 2 to 3 minutes for Q&A. Again, the timing combined is up to 8 minutes. The first 3 to 5 is the speech and 2 to 3 minutes for Q&A. And hold on, my phone just locked up on the intro. Perfect. So Andrea runs a nonprofit with her husband. They have recently had to shut down one of their main events due to renovations in the facility where they meet. This speech is designed to give information to the general public about what is going on with an emphasis on the issues at hand and how or when it will be resolved with a positive twist. At the end, you will be given 2 to 3 minutes to ask questions. Since this speaker is not generally the spokesperson for the nonprofit, she requests that you pay special attention to how she explains what they do. Please welcome Andrea Sanger, Restarting Live 180 Dinner. Andrea.
Thank you all for coming. For the past couple of years, a local nonprofit, Live 180, has been meeting on Wednesday nights at Farm Restaurant in La Paz Complex in Palm Springs, California. Recently, we needed to shut down our Wednesday night dinners so the restaurant could do some renovations on their kitchen, bar, and storage area. These were expected renovations because the building that they use was built in 1939. The goal was to paint the rooms and to lay some new tile that would bring them up to the current codes. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen problems, trying to take out an old fireplace that has withstood thousands of earthquakes, they had some problems. Also, when that was done, they had to reinforce some walls. This renovation now completes several years of planning for them to move this really quaint bungalow into a high-functioning, very efficient commercial restaurant kitchen. We're excited that they're going to be able to do this because it will allow them to make food much more quickly, keep their customers happier. However, we do understand that not having this dinner on Wednesday night has been a significant loss for some of you, and for that we apologize. But we do want to reiterate that as the farm becomes more profitable, they're able to continue to provide those dinners on Wednesday night for free for us. So we're excited for them in that. Right now, we expect that we will be restarting on July the 4th. This does pose some problems for some of you who are going to be celebrating with family. But if you need an alternative, we invite you to come and celebrate this restart with us at 6 p.m. For those of you who don't know what Live 180 is, it has been set up for people in our community who feel ostracized, used, abused, disinterested, or frustrated with formal churches, and for those looking to incorporate faith into their recovery process. This is a safe place to explore faith issues. We are here to listen, love, and learn together. In light of that, you will encounter people from all walks of life. And this might feel uncomfortable at times, but this is a place where our differences are honored and our things that we have the same are celebrated. So Live 180 also has God in My Recovery program, which has continued to meet throughout the renovation process. That meets on Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m. in the Live 180 office, which is right next to Farm Restaurant. If you're working through this 12-step program and struggling with implementing step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore our sanity, and step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. This is a place to explore those options with people who have been where you are. and to find out how they've moved forward. Again, we apologize profusely for the inconvenience of not having these Wednesday night dinners, and we hope that you will join us in the future on Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. for dinner and an optional Bible study that you can stay for. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Actually, I'm open for questions at this point. Pamelah.
I'm a little confused about Live 180. You did explain the purpose of Live 180, but I'm a little confused about when the dinners are going to start again. And okay, do I need to worry about parking since it's in Palm Springs, and how close to any bus stop is it?
That's a really good question. We will be restarting at this point on July the 4th in the evening. That's Wednesday evening. There are parking issues, but usually at that time of the night in downtown Palm Springs, there's more parking than you would normally believe that there would be, especially in La Plaza Center. Most of the other businesses in that area are closed at that time of night. So there's more parking there. But there's parking on the street because at that point at night, the parking meter attendants are no longer out. So you can park on the street. There's also a parking lot that's 2 blocks away that you can park in if we're really overcrowded, which normally doesn't happen. Thank you.
And which part of this, where in Palm Springs is it exactly? On North Palm Canyon?
The La Plaza Center, which is the oldest, actually it's the oldest mall in the country, outdoor mall in the country. It was built in 1939.
So La Plaza Center, so if I parked at La Plaza Center, I would be able to find a farm restaurant with ease?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
There's a number of big signs for that.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Doug.
How much effort was made to find an alternate location while the restaurant was being renovated? It sounds like you had to have no meetings during that time.
You are correct. And we did not look for an alternative because the farm restaurant is providing those dinners for free. And if we went anyplace else, we'd have to pay for those.
Andrea, if I may, you mentioned the word recovery. So does Live 180 assist with long-term substance abuse and mental illness support, if you will? Is it part of that?
Yes, we do. We have my husband and I work with that, particularly my husband, but he has a person who has been in recovery for quite some time that works with him also. They have contacts with the recovery centers in the area, and they go to the sober living houses and go to a lot of meetings where they're in contact with people that are in recovery. And our time is almost up. Does anyone have any last questions? Okay, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Andrea. That was really poignant how you explain all the details and why you decided to stick with the facility. I hope that your evaluation helps you get the information that you need. As I read in the intro, this is not what you normally do, so hopefully we can help you rehearse a real speech for real life. And sounds like your group has a lot of resolution built into it. Next, we have Dawn. Dawn has from the Special Occasion Speeches Advanced Manual, project number 4. The title of the project is Presenting an Award. Presenting an award. Therefore, there's really no title for the speech. And a reminder to our timer, she works in a 3 to 4 minutes. 3 to 4 minutes with us, Dawn Nocera, presenting an award.
Hi, thank you. And today, I would like to give an award to someone within our meeting, a very special award, a very new award, something that we've never done before, but a meeting or award that is called the Gold Star Award for a Maverick leader who has done something a little outside of the box, maybe breaking some rules, maybe bending the rules, but doing it outside of our club, but taking what they are learning in our club and using them outside. So at this time, I'm going to share my screen and show you who is the recipient of our first ever Gold Star Award, and she won't be too surprised, I don't think. And that award goes to Tricia G. And let me explain how she got this award. And this actually was presented to her via email a couple weeks ago. I'm presenting it today so she can get the proper acknowledgement and appreciation that she deserves. So Tricia shared with me that she was asked to present a president's meeting at TLI to tell the new presidents what to do at the kind of the last minute thing. And in her presentation, they gave her an agenda with some bullet points, and her out of the box thing she did was handed those flyers to everyone, the handouts, and then she just sat back and she told them they can read and asked them if they had anything to share or any questions that they'd like to talk about. So she made it an open discussion, which is completely out of the box for a TLI, completely maverick and rule breaking and fantastic. So I created a Gold Star Award, and I actually did send this to her a couple weeks ago. But I wanted everybody to know that this is a new club award, that anyone in the club can get this. Just share with our club, and anyone can give one. Don't you think that would be fun if anyone could give an award? So it's not just the leadership giving an award. This is something that we can all do for each other. When we hear of somebody doing something that's just out of the box, rule breaking, way showing, and especially breaking the rules within Toastmasters, it makes me excited. So Tricia, congratulations. You did a great job. You demonstrated what it really means to be a Maverick leader, and by breaking the rules or just bending them a little bit. Back to you, Mr. President, or Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, well, thank you, Dawn. Definitely a great way to demonstrate some out of the box thinking. Going back to the agenda, here's a reminder for everyone. It says to give them via private chat message. I personally feel we could send each other an email if there is something specific that we would like to, just like you suggested for the awards. We're pretty open, so let's send the speakers, and even us, we're doing CL roles and any other role, we can always give feedback over email asynchronously. It will help with I would say troubleshooting our resolutions, if you will.
Since
right
we're also
now,
doing round robin feedback, we might want to skip this part and do it during the round robin.
I agree on that, yeah.
Okay, sure. So right now we are on time with the agenda. We have Topics Master. Pamelah, take it away. You're now the Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Table topics today. The word of the day, the theme of the day is resolution. Being resolute about something, determining, making a choice, having a goal and getting focused on it. When you joined this club in January or February or March, whenever it was that you joined, did you have a resolution, or you were resolute about accomplishing something? And if so, what was that? Doug?
Thank you, Pamelah, for that question. When I joined this club, did I have a resolution? Not for joining the club. I was certainly resolute to continue in Toastmasters and was looking for a new opportunity to advance my education in a different means. And I think that the online club fit that bill. Since I joined the club, I'd resolved to begin Pathways and move forward in my education on the Pathways program, since I had not done that yet. And so I'm working on that. I've done a couple of speeches in Project One and moving forward there. Overall, other resolutions, I haven't really determined what else I would plan for Toastmasters within this club, but I certainly enjoy being part of this group, and I think that the Maverick leaders here have been an excellent inspiration in advancing what we do and who we are as leaders and Toastmasters. So back to you, Pamelah.
Thank you very much, Doug. All right, Andrea, I have a specific question for you. You are a really Maverick out-of-the-box leader in pretty much every arena in which you join, get involved, lead. What would you like to see for this group to make it feel more like a Maverick leader and something we could resolve to focus on?
Great question, Pamelah. I actually love the club, sort of just the way it is at the moment. I'm sure that as time goes along, and this is generally what happens to me, is I get bored, and then I start coming up with a lot of other ideas. I'm still not bored with what we're doing because I'm so challenged by the technology and how we communicate with each other in this process, trying to figure out how to use the website to the best ability that we can. I'm still working through those things, so I'm still feeling kind of maverick as I'm going through this. But I'm pretty sure that in 6 months, if you ask me that question again, we have a whole list of things for you that we could do to change what we're doing. And I expect that as I am the official mentor for this club, that as I'm processing this, this is what's going to come up for me. Can we change this? Can we adjust this? Can we make this a little, tweak this here or tweak that there, so that we really are all getting the most out of this process? I think that one of the things about this, I was talking to someone in our club, is again, how we do evaluations. I've grown so much in the process. It's almost hard for me now in my brick and mortar club because I want to give those kinds of evaluations to them and they're not ready for it because there's still a lot of new people there. But it's so helpful and it's so growing for us that I would love that to continue to grow in how we're doing this. So back to you, Pamelah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andrea. All right, Tricia, I'm going to ask you a question. So who wants to be Tricia's timer? Doug will. Okay. Tricia, resolution. If you were to choose one area in your life, personal, business, Toastmasters, where there is some resolution that is asking to be shifted, some way that you've been doing things that are asking to be changed in some way or refocused, what might that be?
Wow, that is an excellent question. Well, I certainly haven't been asked as of yet to change anything. However, I took on a fairly large project at my local church to be the coordinator of our vacation Bible school, and was introduced to a gentleman that lives in my town, like literally 2.5 blocks from my house, who is going to take care of the program. So all I really have to do is make sure the volunteers are there and coordinate it. I thought fairly simple, except this gentleman apparently does not know how to communicate at all. And it's been a complete struggle just to get him to commit to our first meeting at the end of June, and the program begins August 5th. So I think if I were going to do this again, I would change it so that I personally knew the person, or at least had some other way to contact them other than via email, because it's just been so frustrating trying to get him on the same page, because I don't even know what page he's on. I can't even find the page so that we can be on the same page together and know what direction we want to go forward. And I won't even see that page until June 30th. So personally, that is something I would like to change myself for the next time I take a challenge like this on.
Great, thank you, Tricia. Dawn, since one of your passions, focuses, desires is Maverick leadership, and do you have a vision also related to self-appreciation, how would you tie those together in some resolution that you might want to make? Next step only. You don't have to go to 16 steps ahead. Next step only. Resolution might you want to make around self-appreciation related to Maverick leadership?
Oh, good question. Good question. I would like to think that I could expand my own self-appreciation for actually being a Maverick leader. You know, I tend to get into the seeing other people and want to do a lot of encouraging, a lot of cheerleading, and a lot of uplifting and supporting each other, you know, other people, because that's one of my core principles is like, let's uplift and support each other. And this is one of the reasons why I think the work of self-appreciation kind of came to me, was because I need to do that for myself. I really need to sit and take some time to appreciate the fact that even though I don't have everything perfect, even though I still have a lot of ums and ers, even in my speaking, even though things aren't the way I would like them to be, I'm still out of the box. And to take the time to do my own work and appreciate myself as being a Maverick leader, I think that would be my next step, my very next step. And I already do that, but I think I'd like to expand on that. So back to you, Pamelah.
Great. Thank you very much, Dawn. All right, Fransisco. If you were, well, you are a Maverick leader in whatever right you are a Maverick leader, what one piece of resolve would you like to focus on that others can understand and support you in?
Great question, Pamelah. Sometimes those of us who choose to perhaps have the courage to take charge, we can get lost, as they say, in the weeds of so many things that we think that we can do. But having focus is actually one of my personal challenges. Personally, I feel, and that's why I also always think that it applies to my professional life as well. Things like the timing and being succinct. Just on Monday, we had a visitor that helped us with our DCP. He signed up. He's a gentleman that has been doing Toastmasters for a while. He actually pointed out this one great club in Louisville. And when we ask him for feedback, he says, be economical. Every word counts. So if there is something I still need to work on, and it's somehow of a permanent resolution, because again, you know, you get better, but you know that you can get even better than, get good, be proficient, is precisely that. How can I communicate in the most succinct and therefore clear fashion possible? I think this is a great place. As they say, it's a safe place to fail. Our club as Maverick leaders allows some of us to experiment. We just heard about the Gold Star Award. But again, personally, that's something that I always go back to is, can I say this in less words? Can I be more short and precise? Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. We have time for another one. Would somebody like to ask me a question around resolution? Somebody make something up. We have Mavericks here.
Pamelah.
You raising your hand, Tricia? Okay.
Yes. So my question to you is, for this upcoming Toastmaster year, what resolution do you want to work on the most?
I actually am serving as president in my home club. And my resolution for this year is that people feel supported. This is one of my themes in life, is asking for help and receiving it, so that people feel mentored if they want to be mentored, that we mentor the club in general and make sure people understand what's going on in the Pathways program. Half of our club is doing that, half of our club is not. How to make it the most effective process for everybody where it isn't feeling crazy and overwhelming. To have the leadership board be really clear, each person about what their roles are and doing their roles, as my job as president is to make sure that that's happening, so that everybody in the club is served in the way that they want to be served, and to have the club members feel supported in asking questions or asking for something that they hadn't heard or maybe want to consider. So that's my vision for this year as president for the next 6 months. That's what I'm focusing on, is having our club members feel served with what it is that they want and helping educate them so that they feel served and taken care of and can meet whatever goals they set for themselves. Thank you, Tricia. Okay, are we on time to be complete, or do we have more time for table topics?
We are right on time to be on time.
Okay, so can we have our timers report, Tricia?
Yes, thank you. For our prepared speakers, we had Andrea. Your first speaking portion of the speech ran for 4 minutes and 7 seconds. And then the question and answer session lasted for 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So very good both times. Did well with that. And Dawn, you spoke for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So did very well there as well. Would be considered within time if it was a contest. And for our table topics, everyone, of course, qualified time-wise. Doug, this might be not out of order because I just jotted them down. Anyway, where on my tablet for 1 minute and 21 seconds. Andrea, 1 minute 51 seconds. Dawn, 1 minute 11 seconds. Fransisco, 1 minute 36 seconds. And Pamelah, 1 minute and 25 seconds. And I can ask Doug how I did on my time.
I had you at 1 minute and 57 seconds.
All right. That's my report as it stands.
Thank you, Tricia. And by the way, Andrea's name is Andrea, not Andrea. She did a whole speech about this a while ago. And I hear different ways people are saying her name. It's Andrea.
Andrea, sorry.
Okay, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Pamelah. Tricia, we still have to get timings from the two evaluators, so I'll ask you about that right before Doug. Again, I'm wearing two hats right now. We're doing great on time, so that'll be part of what I say at the end. You reminded me about the round robin format. As I understand it, each evaluator, in this case, Pamelah and Tricia, in that order, Pamelah for Andrea and Tricia for Dawn. Please go ahead and call on people directly, and those who are called, I believe we speak for about a minute on each round robin. So that'll be an interesting timing exercise, if you will. I believe that's the format that we follow. So with that reminder, evaluator number one, Pamelah for Andrea's speech. Pamelah.
Great, thank you. Andrea, thank you for your speech. I know this is speech number 4. The purpose of this speech is to do on video a presentation on a controversial issue or situation concerning the speaker's company or other organization he or she represents. Then to conduct a question and answer period throughout the speech and Q&A, the speaker is to build and maintain a positive image for himself or herself and the company or organization. So you did well, Andrea, on representing and speaking for Live 180. Is it Live 180? Live 180. Live 180. For representing that and having a positive image about what that is. I appreciate you standing up for what it is that your energy that you and your husband are involved in, and your nonprofit, many of the things that you're doing, this is one aspect of it. So thank you for sharing that. I would want to recommend that you start off by explaining what Live 180 is before you go into the restaurant renovation issue. I didn't know why you were starting with a restaurant innovation other than you met there, but it's like, who's this group and why did it matter that the restaurant, which is the question that Doug asked, why couldn't you find another venue? If you had explained that at the beginning, it would have made sense why the innovation was an interference and an interruption in the process. That would have been super helpful. And I also felt like there was too much time spent on the renovation conversation. I would have liked more insight about what Live 180 is doing more specifically, maybe a story or an example of what happens when you are dealing with the people who are attending this and why they're attending these dinners. That would have been super helpful for me to make it more real and understand the image of what you're dealing with. What I really also appreciated is your passion and sharing that you have been involved in this and that you're helping your local community. You did really well on the Q&A. You took the questions well and answered the questions directly. So thank you very much for that. And now I'm going to open up the round robin. Does anybody have any feedback they'd like to provide for Andrea? You can raise your hand, Doug.
Thank you, Andrea. I think that you did a great job. I'll certainly second what Pamelah had to say in her evaluation. I thought you did a solid reading of your statement. In a press conference, this would be a prepared statement, so that worked very well. One point that I would challenge you is in the question period, while you did certainly answer the questions well and confidently, I think in general, it's a good thing to repeat the question before you start. In our context here, we could all hear what the one speaker had to say, but there's often cases where the general audience doesn't get to hear so well what the question was. So I would recommend repeating the question before moving straight to answering it.
Thank you very much, Doug. Anybody else? Tricia.
Thank you. Andrea, I thought just at specifically at the beginning of your speech to us about this press release is that your pace of speaking was quite fast. So you may want just to slow down just a little when you're presenting, especially since it's information that you're really trying to get out there. Is that my suggestion would be just maybe slow down just a little bit. It just, to me, seems a little fast.
Thank you, Tricia. Anybody else? Dawn.
Andrea, I want to just say I appreciate you bringing a little bit of your actual life into our Toastmasters meeting. And that feels to me to be an important part of the Toastmaster experience. Your actual speech itself, I thought was spot on. It feels like you're a natural at doing this kind of thing, handling these kind of messes. So to me, it felt like you're kind of experienced with this. So I appreciated you kind of bringing that, you know, that confidence that you know what you're doing in your speech. So thank you.
All right, Francisco, do you have any comments? You may not. I just need a yes or no.
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. Then we're complete with Andrea's evaluation. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Pamelah. Right now we have Tricia, again, same format. You can call on us and provide additional feedback, things that we have noticed. For Don's presenting an award speech, Tricia Grow, her evaluator. Tricia.
Thank you. Well, I might be partially biased to be evaluating Dawn. I'm presenting an award to myself, even though I was unaware that she was going to do so. Dawn, I thought you did a very good job for setting up the award, visually presenting the award, and presenting the award vocally. I thought you did a very good job with your inflection and your explaining why you thought I should receive the award. And I really appreciated that you opened it up for all the members, that we can feel free to nominate or even just give the award ourselves if we believe another member has done something maverick or championed their maverickness in unseen ways. I thought that you could maybe have presented the requirements of the award beforehand. It's really, I'm just nitpicking because I couldn't really find much fault, but maybe just give at the outset, say, this is a newer award that we're going to be implementing in the club, and this is my idea of what would qualify, and then go on to give the reward out. But that's the only thing I could really think of that I would perhaps do slightly different. Other than that, that was my opinion. I will ask Doug if you would like to add or anything that you would like to comment on her presentation of this award.
Thank you. Actually, I didn't have that much to really add. You did a good job with the evaluation. I didn't observe anything more specific on that front.
Thank you. Andrea?
I also don't have much to add to this. I think you did a great job. Dawn, you did a great job. I might suggest that, again, very much what Tricia said, watch the outline. Like me, we could have put the information up front and then did what we were going to do instead of we both did it backwards for the group to understand that. And I think that obviously is something that we all need to think about. What is it really our audience needs? I thought the audience needed the notion that this wasn't happening, but I forget that most people don't know what Live 180 is. So remembering who the audience is and how much they actually understand what we're going to do next.
Pamelah, did you have anything that you would like to add?
Yes. I'm confused. Is it the Gold Star Award or the Maverick Gold Star Award? That wasn't really clear to me whether or not you're going to give it the Maverick Gold Star Award status.
So this is really great question. I'm going to answer it right now because it is an ongoing thing. The reason I didn't call it the Maverick Gold Star Award is because I was thinking that we could have and create many different awards within our group. So it's the Maverick Leadership Gold Star Award. So that's exactly. And if you want to call a 3 Gold Star Award or an Out of the Box Award or whatever, but this was just my creation, my moment, and we can do whatever we want from here. So
I appreciate that for the future. I'm just curious for Tricia, was this specifically a Maverick Leadership Gold Star Award? You were giving her a gold star because of her Maverick leadership. I just wanted to get clarity about that. I think that's what you said, but it wasn't like boldly stated, and that's what I would have liked, is a bold statement about the exact award that was being presented. And whatever awards we make up, I would like to have an exact statement. That would help me a lot.
All right.
I like that you did it. I think it's great that you did it. I love your Maverick and outside the box thinking to actually do that kind of presentation. So good job.
And for Fransisco, did you have anything that you would like to add?
Definitely along the lines of what Pamelah just said. When we look at the agenda, that's what's going to be part of my evaluation. There's a 12-minute gap after 12:48. I was going to suggest, I assume, to Dawn that perhaps this more formal X amount of time segment be included in the agenda along with the handover to the Toastmaster and the president. So yes, let's make it specific. Yes, let's make it a feature. And I think we found a spot for it. Thank you, Tricia.
I'll hand the meeting back to our general evaluator.
That's me. Thank you, Tricia. Right now, if you could give me at least a timing of the two evaluators to complete the timer report, please.
Yes, I will be happy to do that. Sorry.
Thank you.
Just trying to find them on my notepad. Apparently, I need to be a little bit more organized when I write down my times.
Well, I could interject that Tricia's evaluation time was 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Thank you, Doug. And for Pamelah?
Okay, I found it. Sorry. For Pamelah spoke for her evaluation 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Perfect. With that, we complete the timer report. Right now, I'm going to set for Doug evaluation timer. By the way, it's not a plug. It's the Toastmaster International Official app. It's really cool because all the speeches are listed here. I don't know if you can see it there. So, Doug, you have 3 minutes on the clock for your grammarian report and word of the day counter and a counter. Doug?
Okay, thank you, Fransisco. I actually use the same app on my phone. So we actually had very few ums and ahs overall in the meeting. So I think that was really good. Although there were a few other crutch words that that were being used. Fransisco had 2 ums, an and a couple of so's, but he did use the word of the day a couple of times, so very good. I like the phrase, be economical, every word counts. Tricia, oh, and I should also point out that I just check things cumulatively for whenever people are speaking, not for any specific role. Tricia had 3 ums. She had and twice, but did use the word of the day great. And I did like the phrase champion their maverickness. I want to point out actually for a lot of people where I've noted and, often it was grammatically correct, so it fit in, but there was cases where you'd use a phrase and is a good conjunction, but then you'd say and, long pause, and move into what you were connecting with the and. If we can work on, and this is an advanced idea, if we can work on the pause before the and then move on, it would actually be more effective in the way we speak. Dawn had a couple of ums, 1 and out of place, used so, and I noticed also you know a couple of times. One thing that I would point out for Dawn is when she opened the meeting, the very first word that she spoke was so. She said, so welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. I would caution you to watch out for that one. Andrea had the fewest uses of crutch words. I didn't count any, but she did have a number of times where she was using double words, it, the, and a number of restarts in that same sort of vein. So watch out for that. Pamelah certainly used the word of the day the most times, although given that it was for the table topics questions and they all revolved around the word of the day, I didn't give a specific count on that. She did have the use of so once and a couple of times where and was used, particularly with that pause following. I would also, grammatically speaking, challenge Pamelah to watch out for the use of innovation instead of renovation, which in the evaluation she used innovation several times, where I think renovation really was the word that should have been used. And I'll also challenge myself, I had an and so that should not have been there. Actually, I don't know any case where and so fits in. That's my report. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Doug. Great details. Sincerely appreciate it. Again, for everybody's sake, we are 10 minutes ahead of what I assume is the ending time at 1 o'clock. So there you go, one more.
You need to evaluate the evaluators, Fransisco.
Yeah, just always counting the time. Overall, the meeting, again, we are very flexible, putting the agenda together, starting on time. We were a couple minutes off. I should have read better that we start 5 minutes. That was a topic, and maybe a topic speech later on. Both of the evaluators, always the detail, I would say the compassion and the care that we express, all the way down to our format, which is the round robin. I think today we did a great deal. As you saw me, I'm trying to always use the tablet. I think for the format, for being online, it helps not to burden, if you will, the one-timer that we have, but we ourselves have an app, have the clock running, so we can watch out for it and not just wait for the timer. I'm assuming, by the way, that Tricia was sending the timings individually, privately. I didn't see them on the chat, which is good. I feel that the role of a chat monitor, or the definition of what a good chat monitor is crucial to this type of meetings. On to the technology and the body language. We keep getting better at it. I'm only concerned, some of you, when you watch the tape, the picture looks a little fuzzy. I don't know how many of you are using just the microphone and the camera on a laptop. This is my thing. I have another club that I support. We work on this. A $10, $15, $20 external camera that can be mounted on the laptop hinge will dramatically increase your quality. I believe that was a comment that I even heard from Don once, and it does really make a big difference on how everything looks and sounds. Ultimately, I for one think that I'm recording a video, so that's that extra layer, and we are delivering on that. We don't have that case today, but we have had also, for future reference, how we set our smartphones and what, if it's portrait on landscape, ends up adding to the content at the end. So that's my 2 minutes and 24. If you can see it on the general evaluation, I'm going to hand this over back to me as Toastmaster. I believe the big announcement is that we don't actually have a meeting on July 4th, so we have 2 weeks to prepare for July 11th. That, I would say, concludes the announcements that I know of, so I assume we either open it up for the 7 minutes that we have left, or I hand it over to our de facto president and leader, Don. Thank you.
Thanks, Fransisco. And I'm going to ask you to not, because I want you to come back on. I want to get a picture of you smiling, because I'm going to put a social image up of you with that quote that you shared. Be economical, every word counts. I think that would be a great thing for us to have. So I'm going to see if I can pin you, or maybe just start talking if you can, Fransisco, and smile at the same time. I'll get a screenshot. Maybe.
Oh, by the way, that was a new member that had been a Toastmaster a while back. I I just met him on Monday. His name is David. I don't have his last name. It escapes me. But if you could say Fransisco quoting David, yeah, be economical, every word counts. It's his quote. I don't know where he got it from, but I heard it from him.
Got
Thank
it. I appreciate it. And I have one announcement, and then I'm going to stop recording the meeting, which is on July the 11th. We're going to have a birthday party for me because it's my birthday. So bring your own cake, BYOC, BYOB, BYO coffee, bring your own coffee, bring your own whatever, but we're going to celebrate my birthday. I may have a party hat on, I'm not sure, but we are celebrating my birthday. However, whether you like it or not, we will be partying. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording and we can go to the agenda. And great meeting, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up in your mastery.